Game had the Bengals beat the Bills 24-18. Cincinnati moves to 5-3 after starting 0-2. They're now in the thick of the playoff hunt. They're in the number 7 spot overall in the AFC standings. The Bills now 5-4.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning to the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. And on the other side there, we're glad to have you up and Adam with us this morning on this beautiful Monday morning. As the Tide rolled this past weekend, we want to invite you to get in on the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports, the sound of Bama sports, your show, your team. The playbook for today is definitely going to be a lot of fun as we bring in Kennington Smith the third, as he rolls right along with us on this beautiful, beautiful morning. So let's get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. Wow, the good, the bad, the ugly, the turning point in the show, in the game was definitely several different things you could pick there. What was the best thing you saw? Maybe more than one. Who are the player of the games? And Kentucky preview and more. We'll have all of that, but we want to encourage you to join us either on Facebook, on YouTube, or Twitter, under Martin Houston 35, the Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, Martin Houston 35 on YouTube and Twitter. Any of those ways gets us in. You can join us on MaXSports as well. It's a lot of fun, man, when Bama takes care of business as they did. And if you want to get in, once again, that number to call is 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Get in on the conversation and let us know what's on your mind. So remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. So good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Man, Alabama definitely took care of some business over the last couple of games. The last 6 quarters, Alabama has looked like what we wanted to see all year long. Just what's your initial thoughts, and then we'll go from there.
Man, an exciting game, a back and forth for sure that lived up to really the expectations of an Alabama LSU football game. And I think we finally saw a healthy Jalen Milroe for the first time in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy Jalen Milroe. There's so many things we can point out about this game, and we definitely will do that. We want to invite you as a caller, a listener, a viewer, to jump in on the conversation. So once again, you can do that by calling us at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. Or send your comments, reactions, questions, thoughts in the live stream chat, and we'll work that into the conversation this morning as well. So, couple of things. First of all, Paulie, who is one of our app listeners, who sent in their score from via the app, got the score prediction 37-28 was their prediction. They got LSU's right on the nose, missed Alabama's by 5. Of course, my score was 41-27. So got the exact spread correctly, just missed each team by 1 point there. And of course, I'd have been okay if I had missed it by 6 more points. I didn't really have this as a thing. The most shocking thing in that game the other night was that Reichert, after hitting 28 in a row, they gave him the old, I call it the Sports Illustrated jinx or the death penalty X when they put up on the screen, he's made 28 in a row. And Simeon was sitting beside him. He said, oh, no. And and of course he missed.
I said the same thing to Tamara.
It was as soon as they put up there, it was like, oh no. And then he proceeds to miss 2 in a row. The exact same kick almost. It looked like the same kick. But hey, yeah, go ahead and get your thoughts in. A couple people are already jumping in on the conversation. We'll do good, bad, and ugly, of course. And if you want, like I said, you want to talk about your turning point in the game, if you want to bring that up, you can. Best thing or things you saw. Who would you give player of the game to? And then, of course, time permitting, we'll get to the Kentucky preview. But the Curtis Moore II said, good, two goods. Jalen Milroe in the O-line play. Bad inside linebacker play, having Jaden Daniels run wild. Ugly, Will Reichert missing field goals. MHS 0407 is showing the good. Bama OC Reese finally ran an offense suitable for Milroe's skill set. No long pass plays were needed. So kudos there from that standpoint. The bad, of course, from MH0407 says, Bama had a couple of injuries against LSU. Hopefully these are short-term. And ugly, Will Reichert just holding that down, missed both field goals from 43 and 47. So, but X, when you look at what happened in this particular game, Bama played for the first time all year. My biggest takeaway is we didn't lose momentum during the off week. We got better during the off week, and we played 4 quarters. And that team on Saturday may be the best team in the country if that team shows up week in and week out.
Oh, without a doubt. You look at the 28 points, you look at what Jaden Daniels did. None of that bothers me. I like the way that this team did not quit. They did not fold at any point of this game because you very easily go, they get the touchdown right before half. They get the touchdown coming out of the half. And we've seen this Alabama team the last few years kind of fold with that when that type of thing happens. But they kept fighting. Offense came right back out, responded with a touchdown to get the game back tied, and then the defense took over.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so much to say here, but I'm wait. Now Jalen Milroe hasn't won anything yet. He hasn't won anything yet, except for I hope he's won over all of the naysayers who question this young man. This is the type of player that he could have been all year. And some people say, well, he was injured. He wasn't injured at the beginning of the season. You could have had this as part of the game plan to begin with. But they finally got it right. And when they did, I think I don't think, yes, he's grown as a passer, but I think that he was always there and he would be even further along had they been doing it. Let's get to Robert real quick before we get to break on this side. Robert, you're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, man.
Hey, now.
I got myself among the naysayers with Jalen Milroe. And, yeah, he took me from a skeptic to a believer Saturday, which is what you want to do.
Yeah.
So, I was a skeptic because, I'm tired. Until you get further evidence, I can't be a believer yet.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've become a believer. That, okay, yeah, you can carry us a distance. And I think I don't think we need to be shopping around for a quarterback, next year.
Yeah.
I think all that's settled now.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you say from skeptic to believer. Okay, next year we don't need to be shopping around for a quarterback. Well, for the future, you're fine. But backup, fine. So all you're looking for now is a backup pick.
Yeah.
You got a guy for this year and next year.
Yeah.
And you didn't think about the hit on by Turner. I know the LSU fans are all up in the roar over. What do you think?
I think that is football. If you watch it and slow it down, he actually his head did hit his chin. I mean, it touched his chin, but you watch him. He turned his head. He
Right.
literally turned his face mask when he made contact was at an angle, not head on. I don't know what people expect football to be. If that was a bad hit, he didn't put he actually did the NFL. That wouldn't even have been a roughing the passer in the NFL, which actually will ding you if you land on top of the quarterback with your weight. He hit him with his arm. He hit him hard now. Don't get me wrong. But it was not, in my opinion, it wasn't targeting. People think just because there's contact made with the above the shoulders that it's targeting, and that's not the case. I still think it's the stupidest rule in football. The horse collar is much worse to me. I see more guys' careers ending for sure on horse collars in seasons ending because they get whipped back up under and tear a knee or an ankle. That's my thoughts on it.
And he didn't lead with his helmet.
No, he did.
I mean, there wasn't no spearing or anything like that. So
I mean, he was flushed. It was almost chest to chest. I mean, it is the way you're taught to tackle in today's game. Head up, and he turned it, and chest to chest. It's just that dude is lightweight, and he ran through him. He didn't slow down.
Dallas is 250 pounds.
Yeah. Hey, I got to get the break here. Anything real quick before I let you go, Robert?
Oh, yeah, one thing real quick. Okay, this is a real Milroe, and he was out there all the time, and Tom Reese didn't get it out. And it's like, dude, what kind of coordinator does that make you if you had that and you didn't see it, or you were trying to force him to be something he wasn't, you weren't calling plays for him? That makes no sense. We have a loss we shouldn't have had because of you being stubborn as to what kind of plays you want to call and not realizing you had.
Yeah.
So, well.
And as I let you go to break here, I would say all of that, add all of that in. All of the guys, all the runs on the outside. Why is it game 9 that Kendrick Law is now touching the ball? I said he was Deebo Samuels before the season started. If I knew that.
Terron Arnold balled out Saturday. I mean, he was I call him defensive MVP.
Yeah.
The guy was just all spot.
Yeah, good job. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Robert. We'll talk to you later this week. Coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation going, and we'll add Kennington Smith III to the conversation right here on your home for Alabama Sport Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Monday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886, 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings now on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
If you're a homeowner or business owner and need glass installation, sales, or repair, call 345-3511 and talk to the glass pros at Alabama Central Glass. They specialize in beveled mirrors, window glass, furniture tops, insulated glass replacement, storefronts, shower doors, tub enclosures, and acrylic. So if you need glass installation, sales, or repair, call 345-3511 or visit the Alabama Central Glass showroom at 3878 Greensboro Avenue, Tuscaloosa.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Weather brought to you by Fincher and Osmond. Fincher and Osmond carries artisan-created diamonds, and trust us, they are bigger than you expect. Visit www.fincherandosmond.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather stays dry today, mostly sunny and mild, the high 77. Fair tonight, the low 53. Then for tomorrow and Wednesday, the sky partly to mostly sunny both days. Afternoon highs between 78 and 81. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 42 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. Man, it's awesome when Bama is able to do what they did Saturday, taking complete control of the game. And after what was a busted play coverage because Caleb Downs, I think, stepped up to assist on the run, left Neighbors deep in the back with no help. But Bama's response to that was Jalen Miro's first touchdown. And here's the call. Thank you.
Well, he did there for the first down throw to the 23. And now it's Milroe all the way. Milroe will walk in. Touchdown, Alabama.
You got to love it. As Jalen Miro took it on the quarterback sweep around the corner. Man, when I saw that, I was like, yes, and yes. Tommy Reese figuring it out, calling that big play. Let's bring in Kennington Smith III, and I'll get both of you guys' reactions to that play. Good morning, Kennington. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. We've been waiting all year to see if Tommy Reese could figure out that he had a Lamar Jackson style running quarterback or a Jalen Hurts. Jalen don't run the ball that much anymore. It's just a threat of his run. But that style, we could run that style offense that they run. We could run what the Ravens run, and I'm gonna give Tommy Reese the benefit of the doubt. The last couple games that he's been hurt, I don't know why we didn't do it early in the season, but obviously Jalen Miro healthy. When you saw that play call, what was your first thoughts, Kennington?
Yeah, just a continuation of what we've seen the last few weeks with Tommy Reese and Jalen Miro just getting on the same page. It feels like Reese has fully wrapped his arms around the idea of implementing Jalen Milroe in the run game, and you've just seen the run game open up in multiple ways for Alabama's offense. Just using him in the run game and then using that look to implement some RPOs. And then you come back a third time, I believe it was Roy Dell's, final touchdown of the game where, they send a motion and it's a zone read with Roy Dell. They shift the defense and then, Roy Dell is able to run in behind a big hole for a touchdown. So you're seeing Reese kind of stack the looks, use some creativity, use some variation. I thought the tush push handoff to Jam Miller on that third down that got that first down was great creativity by him. So he seems to be getting a lot more comfortable. The run game is opening up. And, I think probably the biggest takeaway that I have from Alabama's offense is that they were able to dominate LSU without throwing the ball down the field. LSU kind of sold out to stop the deep pass. Their cornerbacks played off. And, said if we're going to lose this game, it's going to be by Alabama running the ball on us. And that's exactly what Alabama did.
All right. We'll circle back on a couple of things you mentioned there. But, a lot of people saying he finally started using Jalen Milroe. That was part of it, X. But I think if he had just ran Jalen Milroe, we still don't have the results we had. I think it was the result of running Jalen Milroe, running Kendrick Law, running Jam Miller, all on the outside that opened things up. I mean, it's what we thought the running back room could be special. We haven't seen that pretty much except for run it up the middle. Then we saw flashes of it in that first drive against Arkansas, and then we put it back in the can last week against Tennessee. But we brought that out this week, and it was not just, like I said, great to see Jalen doing what he did, but I would say it was the overall effort by Tommy Rees to incorporate all the talent of the Alabama offensive team. When you look at it, X.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what they did, you talk about the running back room. Each running back had a huge play in this game that we saw. The great read and just see it instead of taking the sack, dump it to Jace for 42 yards. Hitting Jam on the wheel route for 35 yards. Roy Dale averaged 9.3 yards a carry Saturday and had the touchdown. So you saw all three of these guys make plays. And as you said, that's what we expected from the running back room. And then, of course, Deebo Samuel's 2.0 finally really getting in on the action and making plays and having things open up this offense in a different way without having to rely on the deep ball to open up the offense.
Yeah, without a doubt. Kennington, as you look at what happened in this game, we made them play sideline to sideline. And when they did that, it gave us the ability to run that play that he's ran all year. Roydell didn't run a different play. Roydell only ran one play, and that was the play we ran all year. And I had zero issues with it because we had spread them out, and Roydell was getting – maybe he should have been the third team back all year, but he looked like he was hungry, and he went to eat Kennington on that same dive play that we've seen that we've grown to hate, fell in love with it again on Saturday.
Yeah, and again, it just kind of comes down to the creativity aspect. To your point, that dive play with Roydell, it really wasn't working that well early in the year, just because there was nothing that was keeping the defense off their heels. It just kind of felt very, vanilla, and it felt like there wasn't enough diversity in the run game, both in scheme and in personnel. To Xavier's point, there really wasn't a lot of guys being used in situations to make the defense think a lot. And when you have all the different type of looks that Bama was using to run the ball, and then you kind of come back with Roydell on that dive play, the way that he ran, he ran hard. He was running through tackles. LSU missed 12 tackles on Saturday. So, the Bama was actually running hard. And give credit to the offensive line. The assignment blocking was fantastic on Saturday. Jaden Roberts has been a revelation at right guard. I mean, the way that he is sealing things off on the inside is really opening up a lot of things in the run game on the inside. So it seems like everything is coming together, and that's exactly what you wanted to see out of the bye week. You saw Alabama gain some momentum in the last few weeks going into the bye, to come out of the bye, executing really well. Everybody on offense seems to be playing with a lot of confidence right now, and that's a good omen, entering in November.
Absolutely. It was really, really nice to see. Let's get Pat in. Pat, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Kennington Smith III and Xavier. What's on your mind?
It's really nice, Kennington, to see a very, very close to a complete ball game. There was one play, I think it was in the second half, where that Jalen was concentrating on throwing to two guys down toward the right corner of the end zone, going toward the south zone, and Roydell. Nobody was within 20 yards of Roydell, and it's just a shame that he didn't get to his next progression.
Hold on, Pat. Let me say this. This is. I know we see guys running wide open, and we say he didn't get to his progression. The question I have is, did he read it? But we don't know which guy he started with. I know exactly which play you're talking about. And what happened is the DB, the safety, guessed that he was going to go after that guy. That's why Roydell was wide open. And what he read was the safety was supposed to be that help guy. And then he took that chance. And that DB it was the second DB that made the great play. So,
yeah.
But I know which play you're talking about. But hey, we see everything when we're in the stands. We see all five guys, and we think that the quarterback may have missed that read completely. But I don't know if because that was late in the play. So he may have already passed him when Roydell popped open. I didn't see the beginning of the play, so I don't know if Roydell was open right off the line.
Yeah, I was watching from behind Jalen, and I said, "Oh my God, that's a touchdown!"
Yeah.
And it was incredible. But to see a complete game as much as that was, it was so nice, and especially with us LSU fans. But prior to there were several things I wanted to touch on. Just prior to the game, I was waiting at Tusk to go, and an LSU fan climbed up on Tusk, sat on Tusk's leg, and shot a one-fingered salute up at Tusk's head. And guess what? Hey, that Tusk is just like Coach Saban. Coach Saban's statue and stuff, and Bear Bryant's statue. They got cameras watching it. Well, within a matter of a minute, Cotton Pickett 5-0 was on his butt, and they had him in cuffs. And guess what? He spent all that money coming from LSU, and he was going to jail.
Well,
I laughed and I laughed. I thought your listeners would love to hear that.
He got took down the same way Jayden Daniels did. Hey, Pat, I will tell you, and we got to get the break, but Pat, let me tell you, the other thing that the people in the stands don't know when they're watching, and sometimes this impacts the quarterback, because the two plays that I think Jalen went after a receiver in Kennington, you can respond to this on the other side. He went after a receiver where it was like a deep ball. He did it twice to Prentice. Well, guess what? Tommy Reese had told the announcers, we have got to get Prentice involved. And I think that also probably impacted Jalen in trying to get it to him as well. You guys in the stands, in the stadium, would not have heard the announcers say that Reese has said we need to get him the ball. So sometimes that impacts the quarterback when they press and try to get it to a certain guy. So thanks, Pat. Appreciate that story as well. Kennington, I'll let you respond to that, and we'll get the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll get what you think maybe a turning point. And you already hit what I think was the best thing I saw the other night. I believe in giving credit where credit is due, but there was something ugly in this game, despite the win. But I don't know if we will have to worry about that throughout the rest of the playoffs. Rest of the season and even into the playoffs. What is that? I'll tell you on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, everything pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Monday morning. If you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, just give me a call, 205-886-8886, 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings now on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad those arch supports are in my shoes.
Come see us at 1800 McFarland Boulevard or at goodfeet.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ROCK to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ROCK to 321321. That's ROCK to 321321.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We have Kennington Smith III joining the conversation. Alabama being able to do what they did against LSU was definitely a sign of growth. We got Alan. We're going to get into the conversation before we circle back on a couple of questions we have, best things we saw. Alan, you're in with, excuse me, you're in with Kennington Smith III. And Xavier, what's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. You know what? I still got my truck parked outside his house, so I ain't getting too happy with Reese yet. My trucks are still parked out there. He may be getting a little nervous, so he sent them every day out there. So that may be why he's not doing what he's doing right now. Because I ain't giving him no kind of leeway yet. Yeah.
Can you pull up one more that says pull one more up so that he has to drive around it to get out? Then if your pressure, your truck is outside making him call games like that, we're all for it, Alan.
They're out there right now. I haven't seen a hit like that since Cornelius Bennett did Steve Berline and with Clooney. When Clooney did the guy from Michigan like that a couple of years ago. It was not a dirty hit. Even the coach, even LSU's coach said it was a dirty hit. Hey, that's football. If y'all don't like the way it was done, give them some flags, and we'll go out there and play powder puff football. It was a good hit. Unfortunately, the kid got hurt. I don't see nobody running up and down the field right now, raising all kind of sand about when they put that. Who was that? A couple of years ago when they put the the bounty out on Tua when he was hurt, the $500 bounty they said they didn't do. So, hey, it is what it is. It's football. And it happened to be your man this time. So what? So be it.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Kennington.
Yeah, I mean, big hits all over the field. Really physical play by Alabama. Justin and Boybe's hit. Dallas Turner. I guess it's controversial if you're scrolling on social media and X and Twitter and all of that. But liked what I saw overall. And again, it just kind of feels like this team is just kind of peaking at the right time. I don't know what that means in terms of the playoff conversation, because even if Bama wins out, there's a long way to go in terms of getting into that top four. They're going to need some help on the back end, but you have to be encouraged by what you're seeing from this team, and just a complete night and day difference from where this team was 2 months ago.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks, Alan. Appreciate you, man. Keep those trucks parked outside.
Don't worry.
All right. All right. Hey, but Kennington, we were talking about best thing we saw and the good, bad, and ugly. And of course, I called Dallas Turner DT 2.0. I said DT 2.0 needs to show up. And I wasn't trying to be ugly. I also called that I felt like he would get hurt at some point in terms of Daniels, and he did. I mean, I think he takes so many runs and nobody ever gets a hit on him. But if you hit him, he's frail. I do believe that, but it's just hard to get a hit on him, and we did, and it worked out. But we're gonna spend all week talking about how good everything was, but how ugly was our inability to do anything with the quarterback in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it was ugly, and it kind of happened in a multitude of ways. I mean, there were some plays where there wasn't great gap integrity. There were some plays where there was, pretty decent contain, and they did try to do a good job of setting the edge, and Daniels just made a great play. So it was a kind of a multitude of things, and it's interesting when, I didn't even realize this until going back and rewatching and looking at the box score, but Jaden Daniels pretty much accounted for all of LSU's rushing yards. I mean, they ran for 209 yards, I believe, on the ground. He had 163 of them. So it wasn't like they were just lining up and running the ball through Alabama's defense between the tackles. It was just all Jaden Daniels breaking contain and making plays with his legs. So him and Neighbors were just like a two-man wrecking crew, because really no other LSU receivers got off besides Malik Neighbors. So that 1-2 combo was pretty lethal for about 3.5 quarters. But there were a few lucky breaks for Alabama's defense. I mean, back-breaking holding penalty by LSU in the middle of the third quarter that set their offense back. Bama's defense finally gets a stop, and then the offense goes and scores a touchdown. Come back, get an interception, offense scores again. The game was over at that point. So it was ugly, but Bama's defense found a way to string together just enough stops in the second half to let the offense kind of pull away, and Alabama escaped with the win. So it was ugly, but I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, at least until the playoffs, Alabama's not going to see a quarterback that can hurt them in that same way that Daniels did, and they're not going to see another receiver that can hurt them the way that Neighbors did either.
X, your response, and then I have a response to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, as Kenny said, they didn't just smash mouth us. It was broken plays, and it's funny. That's exactly what I said last Monday or Tuesday on the show was Jaden Daniels gets chunk plays when he runs the ball. And even Kevin Steele said it. They talked about it during the game. Chunk plays. We never really did anything to adjust, in my opinion, but we were able to slow it down in the second half. It was the Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels show, but that wasn't enough for the Tigers to beat Alabama on Saturday. So kudos to making it limited to just two guys having to make all the plays.
Yeah, that one guy almost did us in. Had 137 yards rushing in the first half, his career high. Think about that for a second. Career high for a game he got in the first half against Bama. Saban said we spied. A lot of times if we spied, we don't know how to play spy. Because when he would take off, there would be no one in the screen beyond the line of scrimmage. So I don't know where the spot. And then unfortunately, the one time where I know for a fact we had a spy on, I think he didn't break what's his name ankle, but I think he put him out with an injured ankle, Deontay Lawson on the sideline. That was ugly. But if you take away the deep ball by Neighbors, it was a one-man show. It literally, Neighbors went off on that one play on the busted coverage, but overall, but that one man almost did us in, and that's what has happened to beat Alabama, Kennington in the past. From a good standpoint, or you make an answer from the best thing you saw the other night, whichever way you want to go on that. What would that be?
Yeah, the best thing I saw was offensive consistency. That was a huge key going into the game. Was a lot of people talked about if Alabama's offense would be able to hang with LSU's offense, and my counterpoint to that was, what have you seen that has led you to believe that LSU's defense could stop Alabama? And Alabama punted on their first possession, and then after that, they scored on every possession except when they ran the clock out. And the only times they didn't score were two missed field goals by Will Reichert. So offense came out, didn't 3-and-out on the first drive, got a first down, then punted. So offense came out start to finish and pretty much dominated the LSU defense. And that's exactly what you wanted to see. You knew it was going to be a struggle for Alabama's defense to going up against great players on LSU. What was the offense going to do to sustain drives and keep LSU's offense off of the field? And the way that they ran the ball, they did that to the best of their capacity. So that was probably the best thing that I saw.
Yeah, best thing I saw was the utilization of the tush push. Here's that's that one you won't be able to see it, but this is the first time at the goal line. I mean, inside the 5, under center, tush push, and Mr. Jalen Milroe does this. Yes. That was Jalen Milroe's play. I don't think it was a call quarterback sweep. What about when I saw that, Kennington? When I saw that clip happen there when Jalen, it was the tush push, and I think that's what was called. But Jalen, being an athlete and seeing, man, they're all caving down and running off to the left outside because he runs into jam. That's why I don't think it was a call quarterback sweep on that. But that just showed how comfortable Jalen was in that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just in complete control. And, I did kind of notice that too. It seems like he did kind of call his own number a bit, but that just lets you know how confident he's playing right now and just kind of, the way that he has progressed in terms of, pre-snap reads and just him operating within the offense. So it's been kind of a roller coaster for him. It's been a roller coaster for the offense, but you're starting to see all the cogs kind of turning in the same direction when we're thinking about execution, pre-snap read, creativity, personnel usage, all of those things. So it'll be interesting to see, how it travels against Kentucky. Kentucky isn't, as good as LSU, but it is going to be a road game. It is going to be an early start. It is going to be kind of cold out. So really interested to see how Alabama kind of carries this over, especially after 2 emotional wins against, 2 rivals that beat them last year. So they kind of completed their revenge tour, but now it's about, putting that behind them and then continuing kind of this stone cold execution for the last 3 weeks heading into the SEC championship game.
As we prepare to go to break here, Virgil Williams says, is it just me or does Milroe seem to have a turbo boost when he sees a hole and decides to hit it? Man, that man can flat turn it up a notch or 3. We'll talk about that and more when we come back on the other side. What are your thoughts? We'll get in the good, bad, and the ugly. Turning point, best things I saw from Kennington Smith III. If you have a question for him, you can call us on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904, or you can put your comment in chat. We'll be back in just a moment right here on your home for Alabama Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks, but traffic is picking up. Some minor congestion on McFarland at US 43 in Northport and Skyland at McFarland in Tuscaloosa. If you see other conditions, give me a call. 2468 up to $10,000 in instant savings now on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Tuscaloosa is expected to be the site for the fourth presidential debate. In a story first reported by Associated Press, a notification from the Republican National Committee to the individual GOP campaigns has, according to sources in the Alabama GOP, told them the debate will be in Tuscaloosa on Wednesday, December the 6th. The official public announcement is expected to come before Wednesday's debate in Miami. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Spin to win this month at Pearl River Resort. Every Friday and Saturday in November, win your share of $100,000 playing the Fall Fortunes winning wheel. We're giving away cash and bonus bet prizes up to $2,500 every hour from 7 to 11 p.m. at Golden Moon and Silver Star Casinos. Every weekend can be your good fortune at Pearl River Resort.
Weather brought to you by Tidwell Chiropractic, the only third-generation chiropractor with over 26 years experience in Tuscaloosa. Call Tidwell Chiropractic at 752-2503.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Oh, the fans are great. I mean, it was great. I mean, the atmosphere was great. It cost them some penalties in critical times in the game, which gave us a favorable down and distance, which helped us on defense tremendously. But the atmosphere in the stadium in the last two games, I don't think you could ever ask for more. And I certainly thank the fans for it. I asked them to do it. They responded really well. They played for 60 minutes just like our players, and God love them for it.
Yeah, Nick Saban giving the Alabama fans a shout out. Kennington, you haven't been around here. That is an unusual situation. Even though we have the greatest program in college football history, our fans' reputation is not for being disruptive or extremely loud. But that was in response to a question asked about Alabama's fans taking it to the highest decibel level that they've done in quite a while. You were in the stadium. How loud was it after DT's tip and then the interception?
Yeah, I mean, it was extremely loud in there, and it was really interesting and surprising to hear that was the play that broke the decibel record. And you're right, from my vantage point, I guess I haven't been very privy to the notion that Alabama fans and playing at Bryant-Denny isn't as hostile as you would expect it to be. But I think the fans have showed up in multiple games this year. I mean, it was loud for the Texas game. It was kind of hard for the fans to get into it just because Texas had so much momentum throughout the game. But Tennessee game, Ole Miss game, LSU game. I mean, all the big games this year in which Alabama's won, the fans have made an impact, and it was paramount last Saturday against LSU. 5 false start penalties by LSU, and honestly, after Terrion's interception, it was so loud that Alabama got a false start on their first play after that interception because it was hard for them to hear. So, the crowd was really engaged, and that's something that if you're Nick Saban within the program or even outside the program, that's something that you want to see carry over into next year. Now, Alabama's going to play some big games next year at home. Georgia highlights that list. So if, Bryant-Denny can become this, hostile environment from the crowd aspect and Bama's team continues the same quality, they're going to be nearly unbeatable at home.
It's called being hungry and not complacent. This is the first time in a long time that Alabama has gone into back-to-back games where the opposing teams had won the prior year, and it wasn't a given that Alabama was a clear-cut winner. And that's what I think you're seeing. But back to Virgil Williams' comment, guys, just the Miro had that second gear, maybe take it up a notch or 3 is what Virgil said. On his second and third touchdown run, where the first one where he he literally baited them into thinking he was going to throw it out there. And then when he planted that left foot and took off, they didn't even move. I mean, they didn't even have a chance. So do we add that into that option play into our repertoire? Because we don't run that play that LSU runs. Kennington, do you expect that to be added in? Because that was the play. That was the exact play where they, even though it was on a scramble.
Yeah, I do expect to continue to see, more variation, and especially as Milroe gains confidence running the ball, I definitely expect to see a little bit more variation in terms of how he's used in the run game, just to continue to open things up. I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself in terms of, kind of where Tommy Rees is trending, but I do think we're going to continue to see, more and more creativity and more looks being added to the run game. So I wouldn't be surprised if that look is added in. But as far as, Milroe, just even him just being decisive and in terms of tucking the ball and running when he doesn't see anything or when he sees a hole, that enough is, will open up a lot of things in Alabama's offense. And I think Saturday against LSU was the best example that we've seen of him just understanding, okay, something isn't open, I see a hole, I'm just going to take it, and not thinking about anything else. And that was pretty much an automatic first down, or at least, 7-8 yards every time he decided to do that. So excited to see, Milroe continue to progress and gain more confidence in what that could mean for Alabama's offense.
All right. Rick Jones said, if we handle our business over the next 3 weeks, will Jalen Milroe be the most dynamic and problematic quarterback that Georgia will see all year? I think he gives them a huge problem to defend. I give Bama better than a puncher's chance against them. When we started this season, there was a couple question marks, Kennington, that you had. You said, will Alabama wide receivers be able to step up? You gave Georgia the advantage at that point. And whether this O-line could be what they need to be. When you look at that right now, where do you lean, even though Georgia is undefeated, based on what you've seen from this Alabama's defense, Alabama's offense, and the trajectory of the growth, what are you thinking now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot closer than what I thought it was at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of it from the Georgia perspective hinges on the health of Brock Bowers. I think if we're looking at it from a pass catcher's aspect, Georgia held the advantage largely because you had somebody like Bowers, who's seen as one of the best players in college football. Without him, it's almost kind of, even. I think that Georgia probably has more depth in terms of capable pass catchers. But Alabama's top two, Burton and Bond, have played, extremely well this year. And even though we haven't really seen Amari Niblack in the pass game, that he is a capable receiver. So I like kind of how it matches up. Offensive line-wise, I think Bama's offensive line is gaining confidence, but I'll still give the edge to Georgia in terms of who has the better offensive line. Defenses are, they're both elite. It's kind of a wash at that point. So a lot of it is just going to kind of come down to the quarterback play. I mean, Carson Beck's played well this year, but Jalen Milroe is ascending as well. So, you're looking at that SEC championship game. It's going to have a national championship game feel. I feel like most SEC championship games have that feel, but especially this year when you think about the pressures of the playoff rankings and everything that could happen, it's going to be almost kind of like a playoff eliminator. Whoever wins probably going to go to the playoffs. Whoever loses won't make it. So, I'm definitely feeling better about Alabama's chances, and I do expect it to be, a one-possession game when those teams do play.
Well, I can tell you, I've watched Georgia, and Georgia is better than everybody they played. But this is not the Georgia of the old, in my opinion. And I think this team, Alabama's team, if they fix their problems, which they have the last two games, this is a better team than last year's team. Our defense is much better than last year's defense, and this offense is trending in the right way with Milroe. So I give us and I know it's going to sound like, but Carson Beck is a good passer, but he doesn't add that element that Jayden Daniels did. So right now I might say even, but I definitely like the trend that Alabama's seeing, and the team that played Saturday is the best team in the country. Now, the question we have to ask, because this team has been so inconsistent, X, is can they do that for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the big question at the end of the day. but what we've seen is progressions of getting better. And that's what makes you feel good about Alabama right now. And so let's see what we do on the road against Kentucky. As Kennington said, it's an early kickoff. It's going to be cold up in Lexington. Handle your business against UT Chattanooga, Auburn, then worry about Georgia. Let's focus on the next 3 games, take care of business there so you get the opportunity to take it to Georgia.
All right, Kennington, I'll give you any closing thoughts, comments, anything you want to share coming out of that game.
Yeah, I think the big thing is if you're, looking at Alabama's defense and kind of the way that, they may have gotten cut up by LSU, I would just say that Jalen Key being knocked out of the game was a huge, huge, huge loss on the back end, everything that he does for the defense. So, let's be mindful of kind of what his injury status is. Same with Deontay Lawson, and just kind of those injuries on defense. But Alabama's defense came up with enough stops to win the game. And they're not going to see an offense as dynamic as that, probably to the SEC championship and if they go into the playoffs. So if you're concerned about the way that Alabama's defense played against LSU, I would just say they made enough stops to win the game. And that was, kind of an exception for how they played, not the rule this year.
Excuse me. I know everybody's saying the Bowers. I don't know if there's as big a drop-off between Bowers and Deck as we think. But that's just my thoughts. Excuse me. Tell them where they can find you, Kennington.
On Twitter /X at skinnykenny_, theathletic.com or the Athletic mobile app, Kennington Smith III, or you can search Alabama football.
All right. Hey, that's Kennington Smith III at skinnykenny_ on the X or Twitter. He'll be back with us next week. Hopefully talking about another big victory for the Tide as they travel up to Lexington to take on the Wildcats. Thanks, Kennington, for all your insight, man, and hopefully we'll be back talking a little bit more about the evolution of this Crimson Tide team.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Y'all have a great week.
All right. X, closing thoughts.
Hey, what a great performance on Saturday by Alabama. They got the job done. The revenge tour is over. Time to set their sights on the Wildcats of Kentucky.
All right. Hey, and listen, I know we ain't talking Georgia, Alabama, but I feel much better today than I did last week. We'll continue to talk about that. We'll add DC to the conversation on tomorrow. We'll get his talking points, his turning point of the game, best things he saw, good, bad, and ugly as we move throughout. I want you all to think our offensive coordinator made a formation and a playing scheme out of the tush push. We ran 3 different plays: sneak, quarterback sweep, and a running back sweep. Hey, maybe Reese has got it figured out. We'll talk more about it tomorrow right here on your home for Alabama Sports Tide 100.9. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That's Noah Haynes. And don't forget about Kennington Smith III at Skinny Kenny on the X, at Skinny Kenny _. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide out to everybody. Catch you on tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.